afternoon and welcome to Oneberg on all the Oneberg channels, on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you find Oneberg, you're finding us here this afternoon as we recap the Steelers' exciting 23-19 win yesterday at Acrisure Stadium as the Steelers improved to 6-3 overall, beating the Packers once again, coming down to the final play of the game. Safety KZ with the interception in the end zone to seal the victory for the Steelers, who once again have won by 8 or less points. We're going to get to that in a little bit. Pretty dramatic fashion, the black and gold winning games these days. And joining me to discuss is my good friend, Brian Carruthers. And Brian, good afternoon to you. The Steelers pull off another dramatic win to go to 6-3 on the season. And we're going to talk about it as we go, but they got 8 games left. If they win 4 of those 8, which is very realistic, that would get them to 10 wins and most likely a postseason berth.
Well, look, I have to just come clean and say, I don't think there's anything wrong right now. Am I the only person that lives in Pittsburgh that just thinks everything now kind of seems like it's okay? I get it. It was a little bumpy, a little rocky to get here, but man, 6-3, I'll take it. And maybe Canada's got problems, Pickett's got problems, everyone's got problems, but I don't know, man. We're in the hunt, and I know it's Super Bowl or bust, but we're in the serious hunt. We're 1 game behind Baltimore because of the bye week. We're tied with Cleveland. Cincinnati is starting to fall apart, and so it'll be a big game on Sunday. But for now, it just feels good. I think it's okay to feel good. It feels good to feel good. What do you think? How do you feel? You feel good?
It's interesting because, of course, the last couple of weeks we've been doing this show the day after, so you kind of let things settle down a little bit. You get to read and listen to some of the social media and the reactions out there in the 12 hours that have followed the game. And the majority this morning, from what I heard, are people are still nervous about this football team, that they're the worst 6-3 football team, that Kenny Pickett's is a bust. He's the worst quarterback. He's digressing and not moving forward. I kind of look at it a little bit differently. They rushed for 183 yards yesterday. Jaylen Warren, 101. Najee Harris, 82 yards on the ground. They both scored touchdowns. That's 2 rushing touchdowns. They got the running game going. And it's an old football adage that at this point in the season, November, December, as the weather gets worse, you want to have a running game. You don't want to be throwing the ball 50 times a game. You want to be pounding the game out on the ground, controlling the clock, and getting to victory. And that's what they did yesterday.
Well, I don't know if I'd say we have a running game all of a sudden. We had a nice day running the ball, and we had one against the Titans as well, right?
Yeah.
But it's okay. Everything's okay. I guess I'm just, I just think like we're okay. We got through it, and we're in a really good place. Now, the question is, can we beat anybody that's significant? So it would be 2 rookie quarterbacks back-to-back. The premier rookie quarterback, C.J. Stroud, humiliated us, embarrassed us. Purdy embarrassed us. And then Trevor Lawrence beat us. So can we beat people that matter? Well, okay. I mean, those are some questions that we have, but we're here. It's okay. Everybody relax. Maybe we are the worst 6-3 team, but we're still 6-3 and we're still there. So it's okay. It's okay.
Well, not too much mentioned about Matt Canada yesterday either. He's been, of course, the most popular topic each game. The Steelers go down. They score on their opening drive again, just like they did against the Titans a week ago. So that's back-to-back games that the offense takes the football on the opening possession, opening kickoff. They go down. They score impressively, take control of the game early. Yesterday, it was a little bit of a flip. The defense is what let us down. The defense was shaky yesterday, especially the secondary. But, man, they're banged up right now. Mika Fitzpatrick, of course, didn't play yesterday. Cole Holcomb's out for the year. And then K1 Alexander, who was their big inside linebacker that kind of would fit Holcomb's shoes, he goes down early. He's going to be out now for the rest of the year. They got some big holes to fill, especially at that inside linebacker position that they still have not been able to address since Ryan Shazier retired.
Well, I agree with you. And the defense, I'd never say they looked suspect yesterday. We're asking these guys to do so much, right? We don't have a power offense for the most part. We're not on the field very long. So we're asking these guys to barely bend in order for us to win. We need the defense to come up with a turnover at some point for us to win, and that's okay. It's a team game. But yeah, you do got to wonder, where do we go from here with some of these injuries? If we bend and almost break, we lose. So we can't allow a serious bend. And so yeah, to have these injuries, and I thought that was going to be I thought the original injuries were going to be Hayward and Mika, of course. Now we have Hayward back. Maybe are we ever going to see Mika again or no?
I think this week. I think Mika's going to be back this week potentially. If
All
not this
right.
week, definitely the Cincinnati game.
All right, so as Tom would say, such is life in the NFL. And dude, believe me, it pains me to be this optimistic, but looking at it from like 10,000 feet down, things are okay right now. That's the theme of today's show. Things are okay.
Yep, absolutely, man. They get this. They get to 6-3 on the year. Green Bay goes to 3-6. Some interesting.
I'd rather be us than Green Bay, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And the Steelers, just a couple notes from yesterday. Kenny Pickett, 14 of 23, 126 yards, no touchdowns, but no interceptions either. It's very clear that they are doing what basically they did with Ben Roethlisberger in his rookie season. They're saying, hey, look, Ben, you got a running game. You got some superstars on that offense. Just don't lose the game for us. Don't throw any picks. That's the Pickett strategy right now. Don't throw any interceptions. Don't turn the ball over. Don't cost them the game. But you need that running game to get going. They got it yesterday. The problem with that scenario is back during Ben Roethlisberger's rookie season, they had a strong running game throughout his entire rookie season. The Steelers have been hit and miss. If they keep that running game going like they did yesterday, I think they'll be okay with having Pickett and that strategy of just, hey, don't lose the game for us.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't, except for the fact that they're both quarterbacks for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't even know if you can even compare the two, which in fairness, I don't think they're even close to being the same player at any level. I mean, time will tell, absolutely, I guess. But I will say, Pickett does have an interesting knack. Now, he did almost throw an interception yesterday, but it was called out of bounds, which was a break for us. And yeah, he does manage a good game. But his throws compared to Trubisky or even compared to Love yesterday, Pickett's throws are so off. This is still an area that I think is not that okay, even though this is the okay show. It lacks because things are not okay with Pickett. 120 passing yards, even when you have the most dominant running back of all time, that's not okay. That's not normal. So we've got to rev that up and figure out what's wrong. But just to challenge what you're saying there about Pickett being told manage the game, I still will argue that Pickett's passes are still so all over the place that they can't be caught nor intercepted. So I don't know if he's purposely doing that. I think that he's just so off with his passes that no one can get them, and the fans can get them. Maybe the pigeons on the field might get hit by them, but I think it does prevent a lot of interceptions when he's not trying to thread the needle, because right now we know that he really can't consistently.
Absolutely. And because of the passing game suffering, as are the Steelers receivers, just a couple of notes here. George Pickens, 3 catches for 45 yards. He was a big topic this past week because of his reaction the last game against the Titans and his lack of getting the football. Well, that kind of continued yesterday for George Pickens. And one interesting note was during the pregame introductions yesterday, George Pickens was not announced with the Steelers starting offense. And a lot of people took that as a sign that he was being, not penalized or punished, but at the same time, a point being made that, hey, look, you can't call out your teammates, can't call out your team in the week leading up to a game and still be expected to be announced as a starter. So I thought that was kind of interesting that he was not announced yesterday with the starters.
Yeah, but what do you make of that? So Tomlin came out during a press conference and says he's a pebble in my shoe. It doesn't matter. And so you think Tomlin went as far as to tell the PA announcer don't introduce Pickens?
Yes,
really?
I do. That
was the thing. You're not going to be announced as a starter. Well, publicly, I won't crush you, but this is your way of being told. That's weird.
I think there are different ways that coaches and teams send messages to players. I think it happens during the weekly press conference when Tomlin is talking to the media. Sometimes, they have said there are things that he says during that press conference that is meant specifically to players or coaches or people involved in the organization. to listen and react to. So, yeah, man, I do think that was probably a message like, hey, we're not going to bench you, but however, we're just sending a little bit of a message here.
Pickens is a bigger message that we don't like you. 3 passes for 45 yards.
Yeah, good point.
Maybe that's the message is we just don't know how to work you into this offense. So, I don't know. Or is everybody sending a message? Does George Pickens not have a place here? Is he too good here? Is he too fast here? Is he too big of a baby here? This fit doesn't work. If we're in these messages, man, he's going to send a message and unfriend the Steelers on Instagram. Tomlin's going to send a message and not introduce them. Get rid of these guys. What's anybody learning in this except that we will tolerate insanity?
We are recapping the Steelers' 23-19 win yesterday at Acrisure Stadium to get to 6-3 on the season. Comment below if you're watching and you want to contribute to the conversation. We welcome your comments. The Steelers' defense yesterday, we talked about their struggles real quick, Brian, but when you take a look at T.J. Watt, another sack yesterday. He now has 10.5 sacks on the season. He's on pace to get 19.8, so basically 20 sacks on the season. But they did not get to Jordan Love yesterday. There was not a lot of pressure. Love had a lot of time to sit back, and because Minkah Fitzpatrick was not in the secondary, he was able to pick the Steelers apart a little bit with his passing game yesterday. Had a strong game, but no pressure. There was no pressure on Love pretty much all day other than that one sack by Watt. I
think it's tough. So do you think that Pickett picked apart the Packers yesterday?
No, not at all.
All right, but you think Love picked apart the Steelers in a 23-19 loss? You think Love picked apart the Steelers because he completed 10 more passes than Pickett? I mean, we won that game. We shut him down. So if we're not going to put Kenny and crown him, we're going to crown Love for in a losing effort where he had a little bit of time. I mean, I think Highsmith's working his ass off. I think Watt's working his ass off. Hayward's back working hard. There's just guys you can't get to, right? I mean, but the ultimate thing was he threw a lot of interceptions. He made some bad decisions. We won that game.
Jordan Love, 21 of 40, 289 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, though. You're right. He did throw 2 picks, and there were 2 costly picks, including at the end of the game when KZ intercepts it in the end zone, takes it down the Steelers sideline, and takes out Danny Smith, the special teams coach. How about that? I saw your post today on Oneberg talking about Danny Smith, who
70 years old, man. He took a pretty hard blow yesterday.
And he's pretty intense. He's the coach you always see on the sideline chewing all the gum, right? A lot of gum. He's pacing back and forth. He's been the Steelers special teams coach for a long time, and their special teams over the years have not been that strong. And sometimes you wonder why Danny Smith still has a job with the Steelers, but he does. Maybe it's his chewing of the gum and pacing on the sidelines. But, yeah, he took a big hit yesterday. We send our best to him, that's for sure.
Yeah, that can't feel very good. And then you worry about him choking on the gum. Like I don't let my kids chew gum like when they're like running around because I don't want them to choke to death. Smith goes down hard. Not since Clint Hurdle have we seen a Pittsburgh coach chew that much gum. And so hopefully I did see it fly out of his mouth when he got hit. And when we were watching it yesterday, everyone that I was watching the game with thought it was Canada that got hit because Smith has really thin, like a buzz cut. And it almost was like really weird, but like people like yelled, "Oh, Canada went down." Like, and I kind of was like, are you celebrating or are you just acknowledging, like, does the whole city just want to give this guy a bump?
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, it was definitely Danny Smith. He appeared to be okay. And there was some pushing and shoving a little bit there at the end too. Things
I don't mind that. Don't you think we need to have a little bit of swagger? I like that Kazee came out, that he was going to try to take it to the house, that he wanted to put an exclamation point on it. This season has been so vanilla and so down. Like, let's leave Heinz Field with a little bit of swag. And I didn't mind that. I would have liked to seen him, I don't know, the whole team fight the Packers yesterday just to show that, like, we're in this. Because right now, from Pickett to Tomlin to Canada to Pickens to all these guys, man, there's not a lot of passion that you see on this field. So I don't know. I liked it, and I don't mind a little bit of pushing and shoving.
Yeah, some fireworks at the end. Looking ahead to the Steelers, 2 weeks straight on the road, 2 straight weeks in the state of Ohio. So that is a couple interesting AFC North games coming up the next 2 weeks. Let's talk about that for a second. The first will be this Sunday, 1 o'clock at Cleveland. The Browns go into Baltimore yesterday, upset the Ravens, beat them, came back. They were down 27-9 at one point and came back to beat the Ravens. So the AFC North, my friend, looks like this morning. Baltimore 7-3, the Steelers and the Browns both at 6-3, and then the Cincinnati Bengals, who were also upset yesterday by the Houston Texans, they're 5-4. But here's the most important stat, I think, in the AFC North right now. You take a look at their conference records. Baltimore is 4-3 in the AFC. The Steelers and the Browns are both 4-2. So one of those two teams will go to 5-2 after next week. One will drop to 4-3. And the Cincinnati Bengals are 1-4 in the conference. Now, you may ask me, why am I making a big point about that? Because of tiebreakers. This division is so tight and so close that it could come down to the best AFC conference record on how you are positioned in the playoffs and whether you make it. And right now, depending on who wins this Steeler-Browns game this week, they will have the upper hand in that category.
No doubt it's big. We're 2-0 right now. So, yeah, this can't be the worst 6-3 team that we have ever seen in Pittsburgh because we're in this. We've done everything that we're supposed to do. There's going to be losses. There's a lot of parity in the NFL. The league wants it this way. And so here we are. Keeping in perspective, Cleveland and Cleveland fans, and we are not them, believe me, and that's not what I'm trying to say. The perspective is, wow, look, we're 6-3. We're rolling. We got to get Pittsburgh, and this is going well. We're looking at it as like, man, we're almost basically eliminated from Super Bowl contention because we're the worst 6-3 team. So it's all about perspective. But look, I'd rather be the Steelers than Cincinnati. I'd rather be the Steelers than the Browns right now with their issues. And so I think we're in a good spot. And here we go. Let's go 2 in a row, take us 4-0 in the division, and yeah, take care of what you're talking about. Let me just make a quick comment here to Ty, who said not a lot of passion. Where do you take TJ Watt? And I know I know he's a superhero, right? Take Watt out of the conversation, who we have to have play at a Hall of Fame level every week in order to win. And then show me who's the most passionate person. Pickett, who doesn't even talk to the players on the sideline. Canada, who doesn't even cheer when we score. Tomlin, who says standard's the standard. George Pickens shows a little bit of passion, and you want to cut him because you think he's the next Antonio Brown. So just tell me where the passion is that you're like, what a passionate club. Take Watt out of it. I get it. He's passionate. But this club is vanilla. This season is vanilla. And if we're guilty of anything, we're the boringest 6-3 team, most complacent 6-3 team. I don't think we're the worst. I just think we're the most complacent.
Absolutely, and you can't be like that in the NFL any days, not just nowadays, but any days. And interesting, there's a clip going around on social media of Bill Belichick from years ago with the Patriots addressing the team, and he's talking about how they should celebrate after they make a big play, whether it's on defense or offense or a touchdown, which a lot of people were kind of surprised because Belichick's an old school, very black and white type of coach, right? Mm-hmm. But it made sense when he explained to him and he showed the clips of, you work hard all season long, so you're rewarded on game day when you make a play. And the make a play in the NFL, whether it's defensively or offensively, is hard to do. So when you do it, celebrate it with your teammates. And he said on Sundays, you can clearly see when a team is not celebrating and not doing anything, that they just don't have passion. So totally get that. And like I said, very interesting because recently Bill Belichick, there's a clip out there, look it up if you haven't seen it yet, talks about that.
Well, in comparison, if we're going to talk about great coaches and what a crazy world. I mean, think of the comparison. Belichick is a Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Fame coach. He's going to go in and his head is on the chopping block in New England because he's not producing. I look at that laughable the same way that Detroit Lion fans or Arizona Cardinal fans look at Steeler fans who want Tomlin gone. Like it's wild. But to quote another great coach, the great Jim Leland, who is up for Hall of Fame in Cooperstown.
Yes. I get that baseball connection in there.
I always love to mention
every week.
Every week, I must bring it up. And Leland is a perfect example where he said, if you don't like how guys are celebrating after they beat you, don't let them beat you. And so
right.
I think it was exciting yesterday. I like because he ran that out. I like that we're pushing and shoving. If Green Bay didn't like how we celebrated at the end of the game, they shouldn't have thrown an interception to us. Okay, now I see the tie is back. I had boots on the ground at McFadden's. I was on the front lines. I battle for my guys. Dude, I'm not talking about drunk fans. Drunk fans are in effect. I get it, Ty. Relax. Ty, relax. I get that you're all in. I'm just saying this is a team that needs a little bit of a boost, a little bit of excitement. We don't have the bus coming out doing the high step chops with his legs running through and screaming and whatnot. We just don't have it. We're all business. So Ty, I like it, man. I hope you had a great time at McFadden's too.
Great spot on the North Shore for sure. Not a sponsor of this show, but there's a hint. So if you want to sponsor, come on aboard McFadden's.
Great.
The AFC, real quick, just to wrap up this segment, the AFC playoff picture is as follows as of today. Kansas City had a bye. You probably saw Travis Kelce in Argentina with Taylor Swift. I know you're a Swiftie, so you probably enjoyed that.
Let me ask you a question. I love Taylor Swift, and I don't want to go off on Taylor and Kelce, and it doesn't bother me that much. Let me ask you, as a Steeler fan, so the Chiefs are having a good season. So is Kelce, right?
He's having a great season.
Yeah, they're doing great. Yeah, he's win or lose,
he's doing great.
Win or lose, he's doing great. If you saw that Kenny Pickett was traveling around the world to be with Taylor Swift during off weeks and going, would the next conversation in Pittsburgh is that Kenny's not focused? Like, what are they talking about in Kansas City right now? Like, is this a great thing for sports fans or is it terrible?
Absolutely. I guarantee it's at the top of talk shows each and every day, whether you support it or not. And the minute something goes wrong, remember, you and I have always talked about this, whether we're talking real estate or we're talking sports, nobody wants to lose. When you're winning, everybody's happy and there's no excuses. There's no finger pointing. But man, in the business world or in the sports world, when you're losing, everybody's pointing the finger. Everybody's blaming everybody.
Everything sucks when you lose.
As long as Kelce puts up numbers and the Kansas City Chiefs are winning, people love Taylor Swift. But the minute it goes the other way, look out. And by the way, neither has anything to do with the other, in my opinion.
Well, as soon as the Chiefs lose a game, the first topic is going to be, I know it's his personal life and let guys do what they want, but like he maybe just stay in North America. You can FaceTime your girlfriend.
Right.
Okay, well, go over the AFC again. I'm sorry.
The Chiefs are the number one spot, 7-2. Then the Ravens, 7-3, are number 2. Number 3, the Jacksonville Jaguars, 6-3. Miami Dolphins, 6-3 at 4. Then your Pittsburgh Steelers, 6-3 at the 5th spot. The Browns are the 6th seed at 6-3. And these would be all wild card teams, by the way, from the Steelers down. Houston Texans, who beat the Steelers earlier this year. Everybody flipped out about that. All of a sudden, they're the 7th seed. They're 5-4.
And listen,
looking great.
Get in, man. This is a very dangerous playoff situation. To let Stroud into the playoffs is very dangerous.
He has looked fantastic. And then you have.
Did you say fantastic or fantastic?
Fantastic. Fantastic. How about fantastic? Did I say fantastic? Maybe I did. It's always easy to criticize what I say. Houston 5-4.
I didn't know if that was a word. I just wanted to follow along.
Here are the teams that are out. Cincinnati currently.
Wait a second. Everyone's out. Or no, this would be if the season ended today.
If the season ended today, Cincinnati would be out again with that division record, with that conference record. That's where it hurts you because they're tied with Houston, but Houston has a better conference record. Buffalo in the same spot. Their conference record's not that great right now. They're out at 5-4.
Yeah, amazing. And this is what the NFL wants. Don't forget, this has this is the Hunger Games. There's a design from Big Brother up here to make this work. This is exactly what the NFL wants. If I had to argue what team is doing something that the NFL doesn't like, it's the Chiefs. They're too good right now. They want everybody to be 6-3, 7-2. They might be a little bit too good. So the NFL wants this clump. This is what they want, man. We're in the Hunger Games.
So let me go through the rest of the Steelers schedule quickly with you, and you let me know win or loss for the black and gold.
Okay.
They got the next 2 weeks in Ohio at Cleveland, who's 6-3.
Win.
Cincinnati Bengals the following week, who are 5-4 at Cincy.
I think we win.
Then you host the Cardinals, who are 2-8.
I think we win.
You host the Patriots, who are 2-8.
We win.
Then you go to Indianapolis, who is 5-5, but
Oh, okay. Let's just be normal here. I'm going to give them a loss. Not
Okay.
necessarily that I think we might lose to them, but just because I know that I can't be correct, and I don't want to sound like such a yinzer to say that we're 5-1 in these next games. They're going to lose somewhere. So I'll give it to the Colts. So just to avoid an argument.
Then they host the Bengals.
Okay. I would think that if everything is going right for us, the Bengals are going to come in basically with all the wheels off and ready to just like call it a season.
So you're going to say win? 5. Okay. Then they go to Seattle.
All right. Give them a loss.
6-3. Okay.
Give them a loss.
And then you go to Baltimore, who
give them a loss. We're the worst 6-3 team in the league. Well, let's give them a loss.
And then you go to Baltimore, who is 7-3 at Baltimore to finish up the year.
What if we lose that game? Where does it put us?
You're at, what do you at? 5-2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-2? 5-3. 5-3.
5-3.
You're 5-3 in the last 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So you're saying 5-3, which puts you at 11 wins.
11 wins.
11-6.
I mean, let's go. This is like playoffs, baby. We might be even competing against Baltimore for the division at 11-6.
Oh, absolutely. If they go 11-6, they're absolutely in the conversation to win the AFC North. Yeah. I think they split in those final. I think the Steelers split in Ohio. They're going to either beat the Browns or lose to the Browns, beat the Bengals. You got to go 1-1 in Ohio these next 2 weeks.
Okay.
Absolutely should beat the Cardinals. Absolutely should beat the Patriots. The Colts. Again, I'm with you, man. Can go either way. That's an either way game.
Yeah.
But they should win it. I mean, they should beat the Colts. The Colts aren't outstanding this year. Then you get the Bengals at home, at Seattle, and at Baltimore. 2 really hard games to finish up the year. So you almost think they're going to lose those 2. So
fine, I think they probably give it to them. But I think we see it the same way, right?
Yeah. I think you split with Cincinnati. Maybe you sweep the Browns. You beat them earlier. Maybe you beat them again this week.
Great. We need to. We need to win one of those games. So we have to at least start by sweeping the Browns. And I think we'll do it.
So I think they're on the path to 10 or 11 wins, which gets them in the postseason. And that's a great year. I mean, the Steelers are still in a rebuilding mode. People still don't realize that. They want to be hungry. They want to be crazy that, hey, we're going to compete for the Super Bowl every year. But the fact of the matter is when you lose a franchise Hall of Fame quarterback, look what Green Bay's going through. You saw that yesterday after Rodgers had left. You see what New England's going through after Brady left. They're struggling. Everybody, when you lose a massive Hall of Fame franchise important piece of the puzzle, such as a quarterback, as the Steelers did with Ben Roethlisberger, it's going to take a few years to reload the wagon. And the fact that we're having this conversation and they're not 2-8 like the Patriots or, in a losing situation like 3-6 like the Packers, I think it's a great thing for Pittsburgh and for the Steelers.
It's a difficult situation. I mean, being 6-3 with Pickett, who may not even be the answer for us, is a great spot. Look at Love. Look at the Titans, who put was it Levis in there as their starter. So yeah, we're off to some pretty good success. I heard someone a caller on the Fan this morning say, and this sums up Pittsburgh at its finest. It drives me absolutely bonkers, but we'll take it because remember me. Brian from Oneburg, we're okay. We're okay. Okay. This guy said, yes, we're 6-3, and yes, the running game's going better. But Tomlin went to bed last night knowing that he's a fraud.
Oh, jeez. It always comes back to Tomlin or
Come on, man. Let him be. Let him have dinner. Let him have dinner.
Let them have dinner. Hey, we got about a minute left. Real quick, I know a handful of years ago you went to Lambeau Field at Green Bay with your brothers, your family. Was your dad with you too? I can't remember.
No, he was not.
But you were at Lambeau. Had to be that's a bucket list place to go see a game. But you met Kevin. Didn't you guys meet Kevin Green that day?
That's right. We saw Kevin Green. It was freezing cold. It was a blizzard that whole game, if you remember. And Lambeau's weird. The original bowl that you see, like, Mighty Lambeau, that's still there sort of, but they've built a whole like complex around it for the people don't freeze that bad. They can go inside. Even the general admission fans can go inside during the games. So we saw in a hallway where the elevators were Kevin Green. He was coaching for the Packers at the time. Dude, super nice guy. Was excited that we were there from Pittsburgh. Just very kind, very friendly. My brother Pat got a picture with him, and Man, what a loss! Man.
Late
How long has Green been gone for now? Has it been a few years?
few years, yeah. The late great Kevin Green. Good story to end with, man. And I know I wanted to ask you about that because I remember when you guys went and you got to meet Kevin Green, who I was always a huge fan with Greg Lloyd back in the day when we were growing up.
Oh, yeah.
Lastly, Ty brings up a great topic. This is what you and I were just talking about. He says, honestly, just curious here. Let's say 10-7, which I think is very realistic. They'll be the underdog in every single playoff matchup in this conference, probably drafting 20th again, right in the middle of the pack. Is that a successful season? Spoiled town, I get it. We won titles, but just curious if you feel overall if we go one and done in the playoffs. This is a great argument that I've talked about for the last 20, 30-some years of being a Steeler fan.
Okay.
And, Brian, this will be good for you because you're Bucco proud and Bucco, diehard over there. And we always talk about this with the Pirates. Very similar to the Steelers. Would you rather the Pirates or the Steelers win one championship and then go the next 20 years and lose every single year? Or would you rather them be competitive, play 500 or better, make the playoffs every year, but not win a championship? I like my Sundays watching the Steelers. So for me, to turn the game on every week and be excited about it and know that we have a chance, I like a lot more than winning a championship and then going 15 or 20 years and not even making the playoffs and being crappy.
I agree with Ty. I'm tired of fighting with Ty today. He's our number one fan, and I'm number one fan of his. Whatever Ty wants, I want. Ty,
Right.
looks like you have a nice, beautiful partner there. You have a young daughter there or baby or something. It all looks great. Whatever you say, Ty, I'm with. Let me just show you real fast. I have the picture of my brother at Lambeau with Kevin Green, the great one. Look at him.
Look at that.
And you know what? Green looked great that day.
He did.
And he was down some pounds just like everyone else is when they get out of the league. But, man, super nice guy, but still would just kick the living crap out of you if you had to.
Right. Yeah, your Pat looks good there as well. But you didn't answer. You skipped the question. Give me the Bucco version of this. And I know what the answer is. You just want to see them win a World Series title once in your life. So go win that title, and then you could be back to being crappy for the next 20 years.
But it's different in baseball because
it is. It is different.
When we were in the blackout period of baseball with McCutchen and Hurdle and AJ Burnett, no one wanted to bankrupt the franchise, meaning don't make these trades to try to go for the World Series. And at that time, I agreed with it. I agree. Let's look for the future. But knowing what you know now, small market baseball teams, they have to give up their future at some point because they just can't compete. So if you're at the point where you're at 80 wins and you're on your way and you think you can make the playoffs, in my opinion, small market baseball teams at that moment should just give up the future because they're going to give up the future at some point anyway because they can't afford it. So if I could go back in time, I would have brought in David Price or a bigger bat and just given up all those guys because we gave them up anyway. All the guys that we were so worried about are gone. Now, football, of course, is different. Would I rather see the Steelers win a Super Bowl and then go to crap?
It's sure fun to throw on 17 Sundays a year and be into it than rather
be
than
into it. I mean, I like a game. Yeah. So would I rather have a really competitive season and lose the first round of the playoffs or not make it but have a great year or win the Super Bowl once and the rest of the times we're crap? I'm going to go for those 20 years. By the way, this is kind of a skewed deck, and I don't want to argue with Ty again because I do like him. But
he's
Ty,
our top fan today.
I know. But Ty, remember, you're bringing up something that's not a reality. We're not dog crap. We're not in the bottom of the barrel. That's not a reality for us. This 8-8 season or 9-8 now that we're extended, these are not terrible seasons. So you're saying, would you like a good season or a fabulous season? No one's talking about being Detroit and saying we won 2 games. So again, we're a little skewed. Ty, I like you. I think your partner's cute. You have a young, cute person there with you too. I like everything. So I agree with you.
And hey, the Detroit Lions are on their way to possibly being one of the top 2 or 3 seeds in the NFC this year. And that's a great story there as well, because they've been the Pittsburgh Pirates of the NFL for the last 20 or 30 years. So you have to be excited for that fan base. And for Detroit, they're going to be playing a meaningful football game on Thanksgiving next week. How about that?
My friend Chafee, who lives in Detroit and he's a diehard Lions fan, we were kind of back and forth. And he always laughs about how Pittsburgh turns on Tomlin so fast. And I told him about the the caller to the fan. Tomlin goes to bed knowing he's a fraud. He's like, in comparison, Detroit sports talk is having people call in and say, what family member would you kill if it meant that the coach could live with you?
There you go. Well, on that, we're going to have to end it on that, my friend. Hey, next week, Steelers, Browns, 1 o'clock. We will have our post-game show next Monday. I know. We'll get it done one way or another. Might just be me next week. I might be Han Solo next week.
Why don't you bring Ty in? He knows everything.
We might have to bring in a couple guests.
I do like Ty. Ty, have a great day.
But we'll make it happen next week. And the Steelers.
Hold on a second. I just got a private text message from Ty. He's inviting me to Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, great. There you go.
I'll be there. I accept.
I love it. I
accept.
Steelers 23-19 winners yesterday. They're now 6-3 on the year. They go to Cleveland next week, 1 o'clock. And we'll have our post-game show for you next Sunday evening or next Monday right here on Oneberg, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Check out our YouTube channel as well. Some good stuff on there as well as we stream on both streams out there.
And everything's okay.
This week. Everything is okay. Steelers 6-3 and currently the 5th seed in the AFC.
Chef's